Hello everybody and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a new video. And today we're actually going to do a little bit longer video. This is actually going to be a walk around of the Puerta Maya cruise terminal in Cozumel, Mexico. So we're actually going to start off here on the ship. This is actually the Carnival Horizon, and this is deck 0. You'll see those little maps right there. And we're going to have a couple of shots here of the gangway area and getting off the ship. You'll see that lady there in the white. She's handing out maps of the shopping area where we're going to get off the ship. This is another view looking from the staircase down towards the elevators. You can actually walk from the passenger decks down to the crew area here, down that staircase we just saw, or you can walk right out of the elevators on deck 0. So you'll see some crew members just going by. You can actually get towels right on the gangway as well, so if you didn't bring them with you from your cabin, you can actually sign up for a towel right there. You'll see people with towels in their arms. That's one of the DJs just saying hello to a few people. He goes to knuckle the last lady there. Do you see? She sort of didn't know what to do. The guy ahead of her knew, so maybe he knew the DJ from going out the night before. So that's the actual security checkpoint right there. You actually show your ID or your ship card or crew card or whatever card you've got, and you scan that and you walk down the gangway. And here we are just getting off now in Cozumel. So actually there's 2 piers at the Puerta Maya terminal. There's kind of an A pier and a B pier, or Pier 1 and Pier 2. They don't actually have names, and it really wouldn't matter which one you dock at because you end up on the same pier eventually walking to the shops. So we're just looking back at this is the aft gangway here on the horizon. So there's actually a forward gangway, then an aft gangway. We walked off the aft one because it was a little bit quieter and less people and less congested. But we going to walk the same way and catch up to a few people in a while. And that's the Carnival Fantasy in port. Now you actually see when you look at the ship in that direction now how kind of dull and gloomy it is. Basically as the sun, this is early morning, so the sun's just coming up. It's a good little tip there, getting photos. Once we walk down the pier a bit further, you'll see when we look back on the ship how bright it looks. So it's always a good tip to take photos of the ship in the morning in Cozumel when we're in port, because you get a better kind of look at the ship and the colors and how white it looks. So here we are walking now just along the pier. So from this back gangway to the front gangway, you can see how it's a lot quieter. There's not as many people. You can see the lower deck 0 is basically all those portholes, which would be staff or officers' cabins. And then deck 1 there, you'll see those picture windows. And you can just see the cove balconies one level above it, those circular looking internal balconies. So you can see when we turn around here, actually the sort of clouds are coming over. So it's some points it's a little bit shaded and some points it's very sunny. It's kind of very strange where you see the darkness come and go here a couple of times. So yeah, so I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. We're in Mexico for this video. I did notice from the analytics of the channel that you're watching, I Like Cruise Ships, that people tend to like watching the cruise terminal walkarounds. And I'd done one of Grand Turk quite a while back, and it's got a lot of views. So thanks for everyone for watching. And I thought it was about time I did a Cozumel one. So here it is. It just took a little bit of time to kind of plan to kind of walk around. And I always look a little bit silly sometimes holding the camera, walking past everybody. You'll see some of the locals get into the video a bit later on. So you just walk along here. We're just catching up to that forward gangway now. You see how the shade came over just there. Kind of went, oh, someone's hat as well blew away. And then you'll see the photographers here. There's no obligation to stop for a picture. This is actually the 3rd port of this cruise. So we had Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and now Cozumel on this itinerary. So you might be watching this, just out of curiosity for the cruise terminal, but I'm just talking about the cruise that we're currently on. So by now you're on your 3rd port on this cruise. You might be tired of getting photos, so you can stop if you like. Cozumel tends to have also some local I guess characters or caricatures, what do they call them, that come, and you'll see them in a second, some dressed up sort of locals, so you can get in a photograph with them. You'll see this couple just here now. They're like sort of like a skull and mask kind of characters, I don't know. So yeah, you can get your photo with the local Mexicans if you like, rather than just the kind of like a ship's life ring with the name of the ship on it. So we're just looking back on the ship here. You'll see now a little bit more of a crowd. A lot of people get off on that forward gangway because it's just more of the public gangway to get on and off the ship, and obviously it's closer to the pier as well. some people just arriving to get on the ship there. You saw their luggage just getting wheeled by. Sometimes people miss the ship in a port and they fly to the next port to join the ship. So don't do that. Make sure you check the back on board time. As you got off the gangway a little bit earlier there is a signboard with the back on board time. So it's always good to take note of that. And also try to avoid using your cell phone as a timing device, because it'll pick up satellites. And the time in Mexico may be different from ship time. Cozumel is going by central time zone, whereas the Horizon, for instance, left from Miami, which was the eastern time zone. If that makes sense. You guys are following that, I think. So yeah, we're just walking along here. You'll see those rickshaws, those sort of three-wheeler bikes. You can actually take those from the gangway, and it'll only take you up to the end of the pier, but if you want to save your legs a little bit, jump in one of those. You can tip them. It's a complimentary ride, but it's up to you if you want to tip them $1 or $2. I guess you'd give them no more than a few dollars if you're just tipping normal tips. I'm not sure. And you can see the Fantasy here on the left. The two piers basically join together a little bit further ahead. And then you'll also see there's a couple more ships in port. We'll see that in a few minutes. So I'm going to do the voiceover for this part. It was very windy getting off initially, so there's always a lot of wind noise in the microphone. So I figured I'd do this voiceover later. So yeah, I hope you like the video. It is going to be pretty much an hour from start to end. So hopefully you're watching it so you can get an idea of the cruise terminal in Cozumel here. And essentially it's called the Carnival Cruise Terminal, but it's called Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal. But if you're on a Carnival ship, pretty much Princess ship, Holland America ship, they all dock at this pier. So it makes sense if you're on one of the ships and coming to this pier, so you'll know the same area. And we're going to walk around all the shops. We're not going to go in them, pretty much just on the outside of all the shops. So you get an idea of what shops are there, which ones aren't. You can see what's sort of available immediately in the terminal area, if you're not going to go too much further than that. So you see, yeah, it's a little bit sort of partly cloudy today in Cozumel on this video. The voiceover I'm doing is a couple of days later, so I'm watching this back now only for the second time. So it's pretty easy just to walk off the ship. You'll see everyone just sort of casually walking along. And then we'll eventually get to the duty-free shop, which is a kind of a walk-through shop. Now, if you look back on the ship here, you'll see how wide it looks. So that's a great photo right there. Check that out, with the fluffy clouds and the white kind of hitting the ship from that direction. So you can get that nice, perfect early morning photo of the ship. And then if you wanted a photo from the other pier of the Fantasy, when you'd walk through the duty-free to the other side, you can actually then look back on the ship as well and get the same photo. Now you'll see just off in the distance, there's the Celebrity Edge. And then it was a Royal Caribbean ship. I'm thinking it was either Radiance or Brilliance of the Seas. I don't remember. I did look at it, but I didn't remember it that day. So now they're actually docked at the International Cruise Terminal, which is pretty much where Royal Caribbean Celebrity ships dock. And then Carnival docks here at the Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal. They call it Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal. And then its International Cruise Terminal is the second one there. So yeah, we're going to have another look back. You'll see the four ships in the same view almost here. So what I'll do is we'll do this voiceover until we get to the pier. And then we'll actually walk through the shops. And then we'll end up at the other side where the shore excursions meet. And then I'll start doing the voiceover live as we walk around. So you'll see that little white hut just there on the left or in the middle. That's actually a customs hut. So if you are getting on or off the ship in the port with luggage and you're going home or arriving, you can actually go there. Actually, those sort of few people there are actually crew members signing on the ship. Sometimes crew members sign on in the middle of a cruise. So they'll fly to Cozumel and then join the ship. And sometimes maybe a guest has to leave for a medical reason or emergency, and then can go to customs right there getting off the ship and then go straight to the airport to fly out. So yeah, you'll see now the view ahead there, the duty-free shop there. It's actually called Duty-Free. That's the brand of the shop. And you'll actually see, I'll actually point out when we get a bit further down, there's an option to walk off to the left of the shop and not go through the terminal. Or you can walk through the shop itself and kind of check out all the shopping. Sometimes it's a little bit crowded, particularly, well, actually in both directions, getting off and getting on. So it's really up to you if you want to walk through or not. If you don't really have any interest in shopping, then so don't walk through, I guess. In the mornings, the gates open here, so you can actually walk down that left-hand side, and you've got a straight shot to get to the end of the pier and then into the shopping area and then the excursion waiting area. You'll see, I'll just pause here and point to that gate. It's closed on the way back when you come in the afternoon because it's a crew kind of entrance, so the crew tend to not want to go through the shop. So yeah, we're going to take a pause here, and we'll be right back with some more information. And I hope you like the walk around so far. Okay everybody, so we've managed to get off the ship. We got down to the gangway level on the ship and we walked off. We managed to walk through all the photographers. We had a good look around all the ships. We'll see just behind me the Carnival Horizon, and you'll see also Carnival Fantasy, Celebrity and Royal Caribbean just behind me as well. So basically from here we're going to walk through the duty-free shops and we're going to head to the main terminal and we'll keep walking. So you're going to actually, as you're listening to the video, you're going to hear me sort of doing the talking like this directly to the camera, or I'm going to do a voiceover later. So some parts are voiced over and some parts are just walking as we go. So let's head on through and check out the duty-free shops. And big crowds coming off the ship. It's a nice sunny day today. So this is kind of a little bit, let's say, partly cloudy weather. It's good as well because it keeps the temperature a little bit cooler. But still good potential for everyone to get sunburned. So we're going to walk through. Lots and lots and lots of people. Carnival Horizon is on capacity of just under 5,000. Carnival Fantasy is about 2,100 guests. So if everybody walks off, 7,000 people just on the one pier with two ships here. So yeah, that's a lot of people. So let's walk on through and check out the duty free, and we'll come out to the terminal on the other side. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's keep walking, shall we? So I'm sorry to kind of jump in with the voiceovers and then me doing the live chat outside, but some parts I didn't really want to talk because it was a lot noisier and windier, and then here in the shop I didn't really want to talk walking through it at the time, so I'm kind of repeated some things. I'm sorry about that. So this is actually a duty-free shop, of course. It's actually called Duty-Free or Duty-Free, some people call it. It's actually not a carnival shop. A lot of people do believe it's carnival shopping and so smart that they build a shop right there as you walk off the ship. And it's actually a Swiss-based company that predominantly operate either at cruise terminals or at borders, train stations, and mostly in airports. So the products that they offer here are mostly aligned with what they've got in different airports. They actually have a lot of the airports in Mexico, where we are here. In Cancun they have the shops, in Mexico City. So yeah, so it's the same brand, and then they can basically just duplicate the product wherever they have a duty-free opportunity. So you'll see it does get a little bit kind of claustrophobic in a way, because the way they've kind of built the sort of the shop internally has got sort of, you know, where you've got to go to the left, go to the right, you know what I mean, just to kind of get around. You'll see initially we walk past the perfume, and then here we are at the tobacco and liquor section. Now I'll just give you a little tip. Most of the tobacco, can you see those sort of warnings? You just catch them there. The cigarettes, the fact that the shops are, and the company is actually from Switzerland, most of their cigarettes are European cigarettes. So even though if they're American brands, they're actually imported from Europe. So they're not American-made tobacco. So it might be worth noting that. I do feel like I'm walking a little bit fast here, but I'm kind of trying to get around people and get out to the other end. And I have to sort of dodge left, dodge right. You know, a lot of people have just walked in the shop for the first time, so they're kind of curious of things. Here's another one of those Mexican statues where you can get a photograph. Here's all the tequilas here. So you'll see a lot of the staff offering free tastings and samplings of tequilas. For me personally, getting off in Cozumel, that's a big part of, you know, looking for souvenirs, is to try to buy local products. I don't sort of really think getting off in Mexico and then buying a whiskey is very Mexican. Oh, my nose is itchy, sorry. I'm not going to redo this sort of voiceover, so I just have an itch. So yeah, you'll see also there's actually, after the liquor here, there's chocolates, There's then just general souvenirs as well. You can also buy bottled water in here. I think the guy was holding up vanilla there if you looked very quickly. Here's some Mexican blankets and some t-shirts. There's a lot of t-shirt shops in the cruise terminal. We'll see them in the next part of the video as well. And there's some snacks here if you need something in the moment. Some chocolates. A lot of the chocolates that they offer in this shop are kind of very similar to the airport selection. Of course, Duty-Free being at the airports. There's some, you'll see here, this is my favorite, that one, that red one there, the Maltesers. That's my favorite one of all time. I can get those in Australia where I live. The ones that they sell here at this shop are actually British Maltesers, so they're a little bit nicer. So this is actually just coming to the end of my voiceover part. This is actually a little bit of a security checkpoint. They're mostly checking for fruits and foreign objects, fruits, vegetables, flowers in your bags or carry-off bags. So they've actually got dogs right there that are basically smelling everyone's bags, and they'll do a very quick sort of bag search. I'm going to actually pause in a few seconds, in a few minutes, where we'll actually go back to the normal live footage. You'll see there on the right there, we just looked at 3 Amigos. That's one of the 3 restaurants in the cruise terminal. One's on the right there, 3 Amigos, and then on the left it's Senor Frogs, if I'm not mistaken. I can't even remember ahead of walking out. So they just sort of check my bag nice and quickly here, and then off I go. And then there's a table there. I don't know if we can see on the table some things that people have kind of had to deposit. I don't think we see it there. No, we don't. So yeah, so we're just right out here into the terminal now, and then you'll see a little bit of a crowd, of course. People sort of gathered now back together again. And then where you could have walked off on that left-hand side, you would have sort of walked past the building literally and come out in the same spot here. And I'll explain now in a few seconds about the shore excursions and how you can sort of meet your tours. And then we'll actually start doing the full walk around of the terminal. So yeah, a lot of people are standing around. A lot of people will meet for tours here, so you'll hear me talk about that just now. So I hope you've liked this little narrated walkthrough of the duty-free shop, and I'll catch you soon. Okay. So we made it through the shops, and we're here in the main shopping area of the pier. And it's a little bit crowded. You saw walking through the shops, the amount of people going through. So yeah, let's have a walk around and we'll check out some of the shops. And right as I say that, one of the ambulances is coming, which is going to shut down a little bit of the pathway as well. But we'll kind of soldier on. The whole idea of the video is to check out the cruise terminal. So we'll keep walking around and having a look. And hopefully we'll get some good views. We'll see lots and lots of shops. So let's go, shall we? Let's keep shopping around and checking out the terminal. Okay? So one thing I'm going to point out right here is when you get off the ship from the Carnival ships, you're going to see obviously loads of people coming outside. And then where you have pre-booked shore excursions, they have these signs. Can you see there? Number 6, number 9, number 7, number 8, number 10. And then over here you got 5, 4, 3. So these basically correspond with your shore excursion. So depending on what number you've got from your shore excursion ticket, this is where you'd basically match up and look for your tour. So it can be a little bit daunting when you first walk outside, but basically the numbers here all the way along, you basically match up, and then the guides are then basically by each post, and they're basically checking people in, they're taking the tickets, and they're walking you guys out of the terminal and onto your tour. So you'll see here these guys are just lining up, and then they basically plan everybody how to get out of the terminal and head out onto the tour. So once they've got their sort of total amount of people that they need, sometimes both cruise ships will go on the same tour. So yeah, can be a little bit overwhelming when you first walk off because you've just got off the ship, big crowds, and then it's sort of starting to thin out a little bit from when I first got off or when I arrived at the gangway earlier, but still a little bit full. A lot of the excursions leave kind of right as we arrive, so within half an hour of arrival they want to get everybody away on their tours. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so here I am back again with the voiceover, and I'm not sure what happened here, but there's about a minute and a half where I didn't start talking. and then I jump to the main part of the walk around where I talk for the entire time. So this is actually the Three Amigos restaurant on the right hand side. It's a little bit quiet now because everyone sort of just literally walked off the ship, and there's a couple of shops just off to the side here. I don't think they catch a lot of business, particularly this first one that I'm looking at right here. So most people don't notice that. You can get some nice little photos behind there though. There's a little bit of a mini rainforest where you can take a few photos. And generally in the later on, a few hours later from this video, a lot more people tend to be at the Three Amigos getting lunch and enjoying the view of the ship. This is actually the Ranjan surf shop where I sort of didn't do any talking on the voiceover. So it's actually also in Grand Turk as well. It's in a few other cruise terminals. Huge shop with basically souvenirs, particularly of Cozumel. Ranjan is a surf shop brand from Florida. That's in a lot of the cruise terminals now. So yeah, it's the first main shop you see on the right-hand side when you come through that duty-free shop. And then I don't know what I was doing here. I was walking around again, and then I start talking. So we'll let myself kick back in, and I'll get off the microphone here, and we'll continue the walk around and catch you soon. So walking around the cruise terminal here in Cozumel, you'll actually see these, I guess, homemade Mexican ruins. They're not exactly ruins, but they're actually meant to look like Chichen Itza. So if you've ever seen the pyramids of Chichen Itza, which is actually on the mainland of Mexico, the pyramid is actually meant to symbolize the pyramid. And actually they have running water going down the steps. But actually in the real meaning of it, it's basically a serpent that comes down the steps. So it's also kind of neat photo stop as well. So stop for a photograph of the almost ruins of Mexico if you aren't planning to go anywhere. So what we'll do as we walk around, we're going to go kind of in a big circle. The video is probably going to be 10 or 15 minutes from here onwards. My hand's a little bit shaky. So we just sort of came from that entrance and where the shore excursions were. We walked past a Ranjan surf shop, which is a huge souvenir shop, and it has loads and loads of swimwear, swimsuits and things like that. So if you do need anything along those lines and you didn't bring anything and that's your first stop, head on inside. So one thing I'll just sort of point out here, it's a bit hard to kind of notice, but there's actually the restrooms here, sort of down a side lane. But yeah, you'll see that's the bathrooms. There is an ATM there, but I would absolutely suggest never to use ATMs in Mexico, because a lot of these are basically a little bit, I don't know, not set up properly. Now it may be a little bit windy as I'm walking, so you're going to get a little bit of noise or a little bit of blur, I don't know what they call this. So we got Viva Mexico right here, which most of these shops are all different souvenir shops. Not exactly all Mexican souvenirs, a lot of stuff made in China, but you know, as Mexican as it comes. You just peel off the made in China sticker and you're good to go. There's a lot of sort of handmade dolls, which is kind of cool. They're a little bit scary for me, but there is a significance of these skulls, but I don't really kind of get it. So. And then we have Silver Exporium. So silver is a very heavily mined metal here in Mexico. So silver or sterling silver is quite common jewelry if you go around a lot of the jewelry shops, sort of once you get away from the cruise terminal here. So the silver, or specifically sterling silver, is actually all coming from Oaxaca. So yeah, we have another one here, De Montero's jewelry, and a lot of silver as well. So again, sterling silver, have a look for sterling silver when you're in Cozumel. It's a big deal to the locals. Mark Henry Boutique. So this is basically one of the first sort of traditional jewelry shops. Mark Henry specializes in Alexandrite. So I'm not a jewelry expert by any means, but we can get a nice view of the whole terminal here. This is kind of the nice wide open space. Once we got away from the shore excursion meeting points, and then the kind of the shops sort of thin out a little bit. Still a lot of people getting off the ship still. So Tanzanite International, So a lot of the shops in the terminal are basically recommended shops from the cruise lines. And a lot of people have basically like shopping maps where they go into the stores and then you collect free gifts. So it's kind of cool. Joy Bay. So this is a little bit more Mexican style souvenirs again. Basically multi-buys on a lot of stuff. Loads and loads of t-shirts. And the coolest thing you ever see, these guys handing out the baskets. So they get you guys to sort of stock up and buy a bunch of stuff. And then these guys making these wristbands. Look at that, $2.99 for a beach bag. Can't beat it. Thanks. Yeah, I see. Very cool. And we have a shop called Red. So we're going to walk around shop to shop here. So if you are kind of interested, of course, it makes a lot of sense. This has pretty much t-shirts galore, 4 for 20 bucks. Kids stuff. So yeah, a lot of t-shirts. Basically, you really do get what you pay for t-shirt quality wise. So basically, a $5 t-shirt, maybe not as long lasting. We'll do a walk around the outside of the terminal. And then we'll do the other shops on the way inside. Drugs and Deli. So this is pretty much the only pharmacy in the terminal which has some drugs. A lot of sunscreen, there's sodas and drinks and snacks. And people queuing up 20 deep at the register, which is a little bit popular, of course. One thing in Mexico, you can get a lot of drugs without prescription. So if you're wanting any of your exotic pills and things like that, you don't need any kind of prescription for things. So a lot of people do actually come on cruises to get these sort of things. But that's a personal choice, of course. So I can't condone you to get drugs without prescriptions, but people do. Effie Jewelers. We'll keep on going. Touch of Gold. Touch of Gold is one of the original shops in Cozumel that was downtown famously. And basically whenever you took a taxi downtown, you'd end up at Touch of Gold, and that was always the taxi meeting point. And they'd always tell you, get the taxi and get off at Touch of Gold and start your downtown shopping there. Now, of course, all the shops are here at the terminal. So DI Watch and Design. So it's generally not as busy if you come shopping off the ship directly, because most people have got their plan of going on excursions and going to different places. Lots of upscale watches in here. So when you get off the ship initially, it's not as busy as it will be on the way back. So where people have kind of gone out for the day and then they come back shopping later.
Mom, on the TV. I love you, Mom. Yeah. Love you.
Thanks.
Love you. Get tequila, sir.
Caraloha.
The bamboo shop.
Yeah, we know it well.
There you go. We'll see you on the way back, okay?
Big shout out to Justin Moore, my friend.
How you doing?
Do you know Justin Moore?
No, I don't know him.
No, he's been here, I bet.
Oh, maybe he will.
Yeah.
He did.
Justin Moore. We'll just mention him anyway.
Okay.
You're just pretending you know him.
Justin or Justin?
Justin, a guy. English guy.
Oh, no, I don't know about
You do know him. Don't worry.
I will.
We'll mention him anyway, so he'll be famous as
Justin
you.
Moore, we love you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Cool. All right. Big shout out, Justin, if you've watched the video. Joy Jewelers. Not so big store, but lots of silver again. And another kind of well-known shop that's in the terminal is Roger's Boots. Lots of leather. Not sure if leather is kind of a major thing in Mexico, but these cowboy boots are very cool. Need some cowboy boots, I guess. Del Sol. So Caraloha and Del Sol are basically sister companies.
Are you recording?
So,
Check this out. Ready?
oh, color changing t-shirts. How cool. And part of the shopping program from the ships is they give you some free gifts when you come here as well. So again, big shout out to Justin Moore one more time. And we'll keep on walking. Thanks. All right, there's a few kiosks as well here. There's quite a few of these dotted around there. These are mostly handmade jewelry, which is kind of cool. We have another shop here called Reef. which looks awfully similar to the one that we just walked past earlier, but one more shop. Again, unlimited amount of t-shirts. T-shirts galore. So you just choose them off the wall, they find your size. Alright, where have we got now? LE Best. Handcrafted souvenirs, t-shirts, beachwear. And probably our first little thing of Manila here as well. So you got vanilla, lots and lots of souvenirs, really lots of souvenirs. So yeah. And this is pretty cool. This is actually the guys doing the spray painting. So years and years ago, these guys used to spray paint. Actually, they've got some in the back there where they spray paint them onto poster boards. But now they're actually doing them onto this, look like surfboards. And this is all done by hand. If you really ever want to be, wow, just watch these guys for 5 minutes. And they use these little stencils as they spray paint each layer of color. And it's very cool. It's very, very simple what they do, but it's just an absolute art. So they put all the colors there, and then they put little cardboards to reflect. So yeah, it's very cool. So, and we have Avenida Umau. It's another t-shirt shop. I'm pretty sure these all are connected because they look awfully similar. This guy's making these bracelets again. Very popular thing. I think almost every third person ends up with maracas on their cruise. Got maracas right there as well. Nice.
I'm here. Mexican is here.
You'll be famous.
Excuse me. I got a free charm.
Oh.
Right here, mama.
Silver and gold collection. So again, a lot of shops with silver or sterling silver. So basically, definitely make sure you check out the silver shops when you come in Cozumel, because silver is for sure far more famous than buying diamonds, buying tanzanite, buying any kind of other metals, but sterling silver. So DI Clearance Center. This is actually kind of now close to the pier, the parking area. How you going? Everybody's super friendly, wants to wave. All right, so what we'll do is we'll kind of just come back a little bit, and then we'll be able to check out now where the pier is. And, oops, sorry. Ooh, I'm not looking where I'm walking. All right, so this is actually the exit now that goes to the taxis. We'll just sort of come back a little bit so we get a bit of a better idea of where we were. These are the shops just ahead of us where we've just walked. And then once you sort of walk through all the shops, of course, if you're not sort of stopping to look in the shops, it's a lot easier to get out to the taxis. So from here, you'd walk under this huge kind of canopied roof. Let's come into the shade here, it'll just adjust a little bit. And then as we walk along here, we have a few little booths. And then actually on the left-hand side, you'll see the car rentals, which you can rent cars right there, fill out some forms, and the cars are actually in the parking lot ready to go. So a lot of people rent Jeeps here. These are kind of Jeep Wranglers. And then this is the taxi kind of area right here. I'm not sure how this volume's going to come out, so, and a little bit of breeze. This is a huge roof, by the way. Just the construction alone of this. So this is where it gets a little bit messy. This is where most people don't have excursions booked, and they come out and then look for the taxis. So it's a little bit of a mess up initially when you get here because there's lines all over. But there is a little bit of organization by the taxis. There is actually a signboard here that tells you the rates that are basically fixed rates to go to different places. So you can basically go downtown to different marinas or different beach clubs, hotels, hospital. So yeah, you've got a lot of options, and then it's basically per taxi. So you can generally get 5 people in a taxi, and then from there you head on to wherever you're going to go. So you'll actually see the reason it's a lot slower is these guys basically hold up people trying to gather groups together to get them in taxis. And then if you look off in the distance, a little bit hard to see from here, but there's a never-ending line of taxis over here. There's 3 deep taxis. So you basically let them know where you're going, and you jump in and head on your this is self-guided trip, let's say. So if you're going to go to a certain beach that you already know ahead of time, if you're going to go to maybe a beach club or a resort, and then you'll see here it does get a little bit messy because this is normally where most people don't have a plan of action for the day. So where you didn't come off with an idea of where you're going to go, you end up in this little bit of a craziness for 5 minutes until you figure out that the taxis are right there and you jump in a taxi and leave. So yeah, let's head on back and let's keep walking around the rest of the stores. So of course the video for around the cruise terminal, this is the specific reason I'm making this. So we're going to get a detailed walk around of the cruise terminal. I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, nice chance to click subscribe. Souvenirs to go. So the little shop here, not as crowded. The only thing is most things aren't, oh, I guess they are ticketed, but I guess you might have to ask the prices of some things. Yeah, click subscribe for the channel. There's lots of walk-arounds and cruise ship related videos. Silver Traditions, Riviera Maya, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, Freeport. So they have a lot of locations. Again, sterling silver. So a lot of the pricing on silver in Mexico is not generally a ticketed price, especially bigger pieces. It's generally by weight. So what they'll tend to do is sell it at market prices. Silver doesn't fluctuate a whole lot, but it's always a good tip about knowing if it's silver or not is by the fact that they weigh it on scales rather than just giving you a price kind of point blank. Milano Diamond Gallery, not so busy. And these guys here for photographs. This is actually the second set of restrooms, which again is not very well marked. But just down this kind of walkway here is another lot of bathrooms. And then this is probably the largest kind of individual souvenir shop, Los Cinco Soles. Kind of another one of the original Cozumel souvenir shops. Probably a little bit better quality souvenirs in here. A lot more artisan style things. If you need some fake fruit, you can buy some fake fruit. Papier mâché, so yeah, they're very cool. If anybody's tired of buying fruit and not eating it, get the fake stuff. Yeah, a lot of very artisan-like things in Los Cinco Soles. Get lots of vanilla in here too. You can get rum cakes, you can get hot sauces. There's a lot of mosaic tile souvenirs, a lot of papier mâché stuff. So yeah. Alright, so this is kind of the second kind of plaza area of the cruise terminal. It's getting a little bit breezy, so let's kind of keep walking. So another one of these little booths. There's one over there with Mexican hats and bags. And then the rum cakes. Thank you. Cheers. And then this is one of 3 restaurants in the cruise terminal. This is Pancho's Backyard, which is actually very much an institution of Cozumel. We won't kind of walk directly inside, but it's a lot quieter restaurant if you need to just basically get away from the crowds and you want to relax and have a meal. Actually really nice food here if you ever do get a chance to stop. Generally not busy at all because a lot of people eat at Three Amigos and Senor Frogs, but a very nice spot that's kind of quiet. Lots of shade as well, so it's a nice place. Good little photo stop here with the donkeys. It's really very cool. These is made of like an aluminium And then there's actually the dining for Pancho's backyard by the I guess the beach. It's a man-made beach, of course, but it's a nice spot. We'll kind of come and swing around here, and then we'll get back to the shops. There's actually the fish massage here. If you guys haven't seen this before. So these are basically flesh-eating or skin-eating fish that basically eat all your dry skin of your feet. Now, the key is when you see them, always look for the fish that are swimming around a lot. Some of them are already full and they don't want anything to eat. But when you put your feet in, if the fish go crazy, then you're good. You've got a lot of dead skin and they're hungry. But if they sit there and do nothing, they've already eaten all of their fish skin for the day. So yeah, so there's a nice seated area here. This is actually part of the restaurant, so generally order some food or a drink. So there isn't actually a beach here at the pier, or at the cruise terminal. A nice view of the ships, by the way. It's basically a rock and a rock wall that they've built. But there is plenty of sunbeds. Actually, there's massages right there as well. But you can kind of pretty much just find yourself a sunbed and relax right here. And don't have to go too far. Now the only thing is you can't go in the water and swim, even though it looks super inviting. But the nearest place to actually get in the water and swim is basically just past the other terminal. There's La Ceiba Hotel. You could actually go there to that resort, and then there's actually a beach area and then swimming pools. See Celebrity Edge there and Brilliance of the Seas. Great view of the ships. And then the Carnival ships, Horizon where we got off, and then Fantasy. It's kind of cool to see the kind of the newest and oldest current Carnival ships in the same place, isn't it? To see that big difference in the amount of balconies that they've got. You can just see right above the bridge the balconies, or the only balconies, and then the ones here on deck 7 as well. This is the Twister shore excursion that goes to Passion Island. So you might look up the excursions. These are these fast boats where they strap you in and speed you off to the private island. Very cool tour if you haven't done it, or you have done it. Let us know in the comments if you've been to the cruise terminal here, if you've walked around the shops, maybe you've gone on an excursion. Let us know what you've done. So yeah, this is a nice little, it is man-made beach, but it's a beach. You just want to chill out by the cruise terminal, don't want to go too far. All good, there's no one here to bother you. So the cruise terminal is actually a private facility, which is owned by Carnival Cruise Line, where we're docked here. But none of the shops are owned by the cruise line. That's super important. All the businesses are private retailers that would rent or lease the buildings from the cruise line. But they aren't giving any money to the cruise line if you come shopping here, other than their rent for the building. So now we can get an idea where we just walked around there, the fish massage, and then the Pancho's backyard. And you can just see behind the waterfall there the building that leads out to the taxis. It's a nice little kind of rainforest walk around here that they've actually built with a lot of nice plants. Considering how dry and hot it feels today, like it is kind of warming up a lot now. It's nice and green. They must use a ton of water. I've actually got kind of like a little fish pond here. I don't think any fish inside, but it's okay. But it's nice just to walk around, get some photos, some selfies. We're all still taking selfies, all right? I'm not stuck in another time. All right, so now that we've walked around the edge of the terminal, we'll kind of take a look at these buildings in the middle. So there is actually a cafe here, which has actually got Wi-Fi. Of course, the main thing, you have to sort of purchase coffee and they'll give you the Wi-Fi number. I guess the number. Password. So we got blue, Mari blue t-shirts. So we'll walk around this way, I think, because we kind of saw the other edge. So yeah, nice coffee and cool drinks. It's a little bit shaded, but not overly, not completely out of the sun here. But if you want to get something to drink, you're good. You'll actually notice generally there's always a few crew members here, but not that many. We have Piranha Joe's. And then looks like we're going around in a bit of a circle, which we are, but you'll see the shops where we came, Roger's Boots in the very distance. And then we have Kari, a lot of bags right there with the football teams on. And then this is the second duty-free shop. So we walked through the initial one. This is actually the same company, but they've named it Duty-Free Tequileria, a duty-free store. So the shop we went through was duty-free, and then this is a second duty-free. So they do actually change the prices in this shop compared to the terminal walkthrough. Not a lot, but just $1 or $2 here and there. And then the big difference here is it's a lot quieter, so it's not as busy with people, especially where you're walking in and out of the terminal to get on and off the ship. They've got recycling here too, which is kind of cool. Predominantly tequilas in this shop as well, so of course it's called a tequileria. It's got Mani Pedi Express, Katu Mani Pedi Express. Pretty sure this is all crew members in here as well, because it's basically people on their phones, which is generally means it's crew members. Here's another touch of gold. It's a little bit busy. We'll do a walk around the edge. And this is actually the pier here, which we kind of saw in the earlier part, where you take the excursions. So this is not a public pier as such. It's where all the boats pull up to take you over to mainland tours. I know it's mainland tours, or if you're going to go on these twister tours, catamaran tours meet there as well. So there's a couple more booths here, more souvenirs. There's the entrance to Touch of Gold right here. So plenty of people actually in this store. Maybe they have a giveaway or a raffle or something. So this is actually a tour desk here for self-guided excursions, snorkeling, dolphins, Chankanab. So you can actually book tours right here and then depart from the terminal. Alright, so when we walked off the pier initially, we did go past 3 Amigos. And then this is actually then Fat Tuesdays. And Senorita Margarita is the other. I don't know how they have 2 names for the same place, but a little bit quieter on this other side. Later on the way back in the afternoon, the bars get a little bit rowdier. So a sunglasses shop here, Solaris. So you need sunglasses. These are mostly US retail prices, so you're not going to get sort of bargains on the sunglasses because they're all basically branded sunglasses. And Mayan Fiesta rum cakes. So everybody eating rum cakes, and then hot sauces. So if you are doing an itinerary that does Cayman, Cozumel, Jamaica, which is the tour that I'm on this cruise, then basically you missed out on rum cakes in Grand Cayman. You can get some in Jamaica. You can get some here in Mexico. So there's a Mexican one there. So yeah, Fat Tuesdays right here. There's still a few people here already. Some people literally walk off, come here for the day, and get back on the ship. And then slowly as the afternoon passes along, they get a little bit more inebriated. Alright, so we'll actually do the lap around here so you know where we've come from the beginning. This is the main Diamond International store, which is a little bit well promoted by the cruise lines to come shopping here. Alright, so you'll still see people streaming off the ship. With 7,000 people on 2 ships, naturally you're going to see some crowds in the terminal. And of course this is still not quite lunchtime yet my time, so I'm filming this before 12 o'clock. There's the other entrance to DI, or Diamonds International. Alright, hopefully copyright's not going to kick in, and they're singing a song that nobody knows. But they have mariachi band playing. And actually here's the other Cozumel Duty-Free. They've named this one Cozumel Duty-Free. So predominantly tequilas, vanilla. Should we just walk through here a little bit and come in and out? So it's kind of cool. Lots of. They always have the chocolate here. That bothers me a lot because this chocolate surely is melting with the heat. But they always have it right by the entrance. So I've worked on ships a lot of years, and so here we are back basically on this right-hand side where we initially walked along this path here. And we'll just come back into this middle area so you get an idea of where we are. So we are kind of walking around in circles a little bit, but the intention of this video is to get an idea of the cruise terminal here at Puerta Maya. This is actually called Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal. Some nice souvenirs here, these wind catchers. Sometimes they call them dream catchers. I don't know, you guys call them wind catchers or dream catchers? Yeah, very cool. So we had Fiesta rum cakes in the distance, then Diego's, Isla de la Hamacas. Not sure what that is. It's Isle of the Hammocks. So, and there's not really hammocks in there. Lots of t-shirts, lots of dresses, traditional Mexican dresses. And then another silver shop there, Ruby. See a little bit price marked as well, so you can get some bargain silver. Lino's. And then, actually this is generally always empty when I come here. Clear Lounge Underwater Oxygen Bar. So basically you can wear these dive helmets and you can come underwater, and they have these different activities they get you to do. So you can play Jenga. He's going to write something down. This is kind of cool. So just walk around here. The t-shirts. Another t-shirt shop. So just make sure you like t-shirts and you're good. Alright, let's actually just do a little shortcut through this little corridor here. Then we have the second Rogers boot store. A little bit quieter than the main shop. So I don't think I'll ever get a chance to wear them, but it's nice leather boots. More music now! Please, Google, YouTube, don't copyright the songs. Another silver shop. And we're back now at the Tequila Rear where we started. Actually, we'll just walk. Actually, this corridor over here, and then actually these are all the names of the streets in this cruise terminal. But it's I don't think anybody pays attention to that, but they're there. We have some more handmade jewelry. Actually, this is beaded jewelry. That's kind of cool. All right, so and we've got another silver shop, and then a Vieira. So there we have it, everyone. we've pretty much done the entire walk around of the terminal. I'm going to actually slowly walk back to that first Mexican pyramid, so you know where we basically are. I hope you don't feel too spun around walking. So yeah, I think we're going to end up with about a 45-minute video. But that was the intention. If you have watched the Grand Turk Cruise Center walk around, you'll know it's probably a little bit quicker because there's not as many stores there. But the Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal walk around is a little bit longer because there's more shops to check out and sort of squeeze into the video. And we do kind of almost repeat a few of them because we're walking not exactly in a circle, which is the Grand Turk one, which is a little bit more simpler laid out. Come past this duty-free shop again. One thing to point out there is the cigarettes that they sell in Mexico here are not original American-made tobacco. So do be cautious if you are a smoker that the cigarettes aren't American-made. So here we are back at the beginning, and then this is now the entrance and exit of the cruise terminal again. So remember, when you come back on the ship, you show your ship room card or sail and sign card if you're on a Carnival ship, and then a second form of ID. So anybody 16 or older needs to have a form of ID. And if you're kids, or if you have a family with kids, then you can vouch for them as your children and walk through. So yeah, I hope you've liked this walk around of the cruise terminal. And I'm going to add a little bit at the end. So just to basically re-explain a few things. And thanks for watching so far. Okay, stick around. Okay, everybody, so we're now back on the ship. It's actually the next day where I've been doing the voiceovers to end the video. And I didn't film the last part of the walk around. So you'll see there right at the end, we ended up back at that pyramid water fountain. And obviously to get back on the ship, you just sort of walk back either through the duty-free shop or along that side laneway to get back on the ship. You'd show your crew ID, you'd show your passenger ID or your sail and sign card. Getting back on the ship, especially with the local authorities, you'll need to show a picture ID. So either your passport or government-issued photo ID, driver's license, things like that, birth certificates. And then if you have younger children, you can vouch for them, or if they're over 16, you would have their ID as well. We're actually in the main theater here. This is here on board the Carnival Horizon, and there's nobody here, so it's a little bit strange. Actually, there's one guy vacuuming just off in the very distance behind me. I was having a chat with him earlier, so if you're a trooper and managed to watch the whole hour and you've caught me right at the very end, this is kind of bonus footage. So I do hope you've enjoyed the walk around of the Puerta Maya Cruise Terminal. It was a video I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and I finally got to do it. And so I'm smiling so much doing this part of the video because I've done so much of the voiceover talking. It feels like I've got my phone voice on, so I'm sorry if you are right at the end here and you've got me now doing the last part. So yeah, thanks for watching I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed and you like the channel, click subscribe. There's also a notification bell you can click to get the first videos as I upload them on a weekly basis. I am going to do more of these cruise terminal walk-arounds, so if you like this kind of video, also you can give it a thumbs up. And if you maybe want to post a comment or something that I might have missed, I don't know what I missed, but if I missed something, maybe mention it. If you loved it or didn't like it or it was too long. It really is, if you're right at the end watching this now and you've stuck out the 1 hour, you really did want to watch this cruise terminal walk around. So it's not sort of a video that you watch a couple of minutes and switch it on or switch it off. It's something where you'll actually learn about getting off the ship in Cozumel at the Carnival Cruise Terminal and checking out all the shops and seeing what's available, what's not available, and where you can buy things. So yeah, I hope you really liked it. I enjoyed making it. It was kind of fun putting it together. I like editing these kind of videos as well because I didn't do lots of cuts. I did longer sort of videos and pieced them together. So yeah, thanks for watching I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel from here on board Carnival Horizon. especially this last part. Obviously, everything else was filmed in Cozumel, Mexico. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and catch you next time on another I Like Cruise Ships video. Bye!